when I was going through my life and choosing my friends wisely, and even getting into friendship groups and deciding whether to burn bridges, so to speak, or to keep them, I asked myself this one question. Gather round, Kaijus! It's your boy Kaiju Kong, aka 2K, emerging from the depths of sweet solitude to bring you some more Sigma, soul sustenance. Alright guys, today I'm gonna be responding to a question by a brother named What's up? Love your name, man. Anyway, he asked me, I have a question that I would like a lot to give in-depth analysis to. Us Sigmas, introverts, lone wolves, tigers, pumas, jaguars, etc. Why we need in the course of our life to get in a group, and then after a moment we get again as lone individuals. Of course, as a basic explanation, I know is because we have a particular lesson to learn from that group, but I am more curious why this happens on a regular basis. In my last 10 years, I was in 5 to 6 groups, packs, but after 1 to 2 years, let's just say, I did not feel as part of the tribe. I would really like a more deep introspection in the subject because, you know, only by viewing another Sigma male's perspective and not just a random standby will I learn more about this. Thank you very much for replying to my previous message and keep up the good work. Well, brother, what's up? Thank you very much for today's video request. And let me just start off with this and tell you that I relate totally to what you are talking about, because we as a family, we followed around our father. Our father was an expatriate. He basically was a specialist, and I was born in the Philippines, but we moved to Vietnam. After Vietnam, we moved back to the Philippines. After the Philippines, we moved to Singapore. After Singapore, they moved back to the Philippines, but then I went to Switzerland. I went to Thailand, back to Switzerland, and then now here I am in Portugal. So as you can see, I did jump my fair share of hierarchies, and in a major way. It's not just from one group to the other, no. Not just from one state to the other, no. But from one major country to the other. I'm a Sigma male that was made because of this lifestyle, this how I was brought up. And let me begin by this. That's the characteristic of a lone wolf or a tiger. We are solitary, but those are just spirit animals. Humans are social creatures. So at the depth, we want to feel like this sense of belonging. We want to know we belong somewhere, or at least we want to know that there are other people around the world that think like us, that share the same solitary attitude as we do. There is this thing that I talked about this with a subscriber yesterday on the comment section. I told him this quote: small minds talk about people. Average minds discuss events. Great minds discuss ideas. Most people in this world, they talk about other people, gossip. We call in the Philippines chismis. They talk about people, even in the workplace. I go around when people talk about, oh, you know, that guy is nanini or that girl is lanana. I just go away. I just do my own work, focus on my work. I don't want to hear that bullshit. What am I gonna get with putting down someone? What am I gonna get? Are they gonna be affected? No. Then there's the average minds. Average minds, they talk about events. Most of the people are average-minded. They talk about the freaking COVID that's taking place. In the US, they're talking about the elections, the left, the right, this Black Lives Matter, and they give their own opinion as if they can change a certain thing about it. No, guys, no matter how much you talk, you're never gonna influence the movement of the world. You have to act. Then there are the great minds. The great minds, they discuss ideas. Now these ones, they are the ones who discuss the potential of the world, how they can change things, how these ones are the better minded people. But then I thought to myself, I told the guy in the comment section, then I said there's one more group that is missing, the masterminds. And what did the masterminds do? The masterminds have stopped discussing and they started to act. Now these are the type of groups of people that I want to hang around. The people who are not talking about other people, who are not gossiping about other people, who are not talking about events as if they can change what's taking place in the world by the blah, blah, blah that's coming out of their mouth. And they're not just talking about ideas, but they stopped talking about it. They said, okay, let's do this, do this, do this. Okay, let's go. That's time to act. Those are the type of people that I want to hang out with. And when you look around at the world, I believe that only 10%, not even 10%, even less than 10% are those that are really taking action in their lives. There is so much knowledge in this world, as I said in a previous video, so much knowledge in this world that you can absorb and absorb and absorb like a plant. but then the plant can absorb the sunlight, but it is up to the plant to convert that bud into a flower. No matter how much sun you absorb, then it is up to you to transform that inner fire, that inner bud, to become the flower, to bloom. It's your turn to act. And there's not enough people who act and who actually bloom. There are 3 types of friendships that Aristotle talked about. Let's before I go into Aristotle's 3 types of friendships, let me begin by why you move friend groups. Because there are 2 reasons. 1, you changed, or 2, they changed. Now, the thing is, I believe why you jump from group to group, especially in your youth, especially when you are younger. Now, I don't really jump from group to group. I already know what type of friends I'm looking for. I already know who I am. When you're youth, we are still trying to discover who we are. We are still in that self-exploratory phase of our lives. So you don't even know who you are. So on this path of searching for who you are looking at what is cool in the world. You're trying to fit in with a cool crowd, with what is trendy, because of course you don't want to be shunned in the beginning. You want to, at least you're trying to build yourself up in the cool way. You want to say, like, I want to establish myself and I see a role model and I want to be that cool guy who wants to be the loser, of course. But then eventually you realize that you're not just wanting to be cool. You realize that you are a different person. You are unique in who you are. So you may follow a role model, but then eventually you stray from the path and you start to pave your own way. And then when you realize this, you're like wondering, you look at your original friend group who are maybe going after the same role model that you are going after. You start to slowly detach yourself from them. You start to loosen your bonds from them and try to develop in other ways, which can draw you to other friend groups. If you are, let's say, looking as to a rock star, the rock star is your role model, and then realize you don't appreciate the drugs, the alcohol, the whatever, the rebelliousness, extreme rebelliousness of this rock star. You realize you're more intellectual and artistic also in a way. You may start to look for other friend groups and start to mesh with other friend groups that have also this intellectual or artistic way. The thing is with the intellectual group, and I've been there, so I know this. The intellectual group, they are characterized as the nerds. And the nerds in high school and younger groups, they are not very much, they're not highly respected. So you're in the nerds, you're hanging out with them, but somehow because everyone else sees you hanging out with them, and you know people see you hanging out with them, when you are young, you do not know, and you don't have yet this thick skin. You haven't yet learned how to not give a fuck about other people, how other people think about you. So you kind of do want to engage with a smart group because you connect with them. But at the same time, you don't want to really attach yourself to that friend group because you know that there's like a social stigma attached to them and you don't really like to be thought of or trying to put all the attention on you in a negative way, so to speak. Probably you guys know what I mean. So you're kind of jumping between friend groups, jumping within friend groups. And the thing is, when you jump between friend groups and you have really no loyalty, these guys don't really like you and these guys don't really like you. So in the end, you stick by yourself. And that's the thing. There are 3 types of friendships. Now let's go. 3 types of friendships that Aristotle talked about. There is the group of friends called the friendships of utility. Now these friendships are useful friendships. They are there because they serve a certain purpose. It does not mean that you have common interests. It means that you have a common goal in the short term. And then there is the friendship of pleasure. Friendships of pleasure, let's say they are for fun, they are for hobbies, like when you get into sports, they're there. When you get into a hunting group, like spearfishing group, they're there. They're just friendships of pleasure. Even love affairs, relationships, girlfriends, they are friendships of pleasure, but that does not mean that they are long term. And then that talks about the 3rd friendship that Aristotle talked, and that's the friendship of, what was it? The friendship of good, or the friendship of virtue. This is the best type of friendship and the long-term friendships. Now, these ones are those that are built over time. Deep at your core, your long-term vision is the same. You may have different interests, yes. They help each other not because they are selfish, but they help each other for the sake of helping their friends. So that's the type of friendships that we, I believe, as Sigma males, we really constantly try to search for. In the end of the day, when I was going through my life and choosing my friends wisely, and even getting into friendship groups and deciding whether to burn bridges, so to speak, or to keep them, I asked myself this one question. Where I wanted to go, could they follow? Could they be with me where I wanted to go in life? And if that answer was no, which was the case most of the time, then I knew already the answer to that question, and I knew already what I had to do. You realize that if you don't really want to be friends with too many people, it's fine, because the friendships that are good, the last type of friendship that Aristotle mentioned, those are the types of friendships that you really, really need in this life. And that's that. Even if that's just your family, your brother, your sister, your cousins, or a close friend or close friends that you have, that's good enough as it is, my friend. And other friends, as you can see, they're friendships of utility. When you need something, you can reach out to them. It doesn't mean that you're selfish, no, because you provide value to them and they provide value to you. There's a win-win situation. There's nothing bad about that. And if you are getting into hobbies or getting into common interests, you will have friends that share those interests, and you're both winning on both ends. So remember, there are the masterminds. There's the small minds, the average minds, the great minds, and the masterminds. The masterminds are those you really want to be and those you really want to hang out with. They're the ones who are going to put the fire in you and push you to act, my friend. So I hope that even if I don't see you in person, even if you have not seen me in person, watching this video and you engaging in my content, know that I've got your back, as I hope you've got mine. We are friends, even though we do not really, as I said, personally talk to each other. We are the friends of value. We are the friends of good. I push you to be the best that you can be without being selfish. Of course, there are ads in this. It's a little bit selfish on my end, but then think about it this way. Every single ad that you spend is only a few cents that I get in return for the value that you get inbounds, my friend, inbounds. So it's more that you win than I do. So when you think about it that way, everything is good. So that's it, my friends. I hope this helped you. What's up? This is Kaiju Kong signing off. Thank you very much for joining me, brothers. Till next time, stay strong and take care.